Hi, I'm Stephanie J. Block.
And I'm Mary Lee Fairbanks.
Welcome to Season 3 of Stages Podcast,
where we continue to bring creation and connection to center stage.
And we'll embody the titular character of Tamara de LEMPICKA. Is that correct, or is it de?
De LEMPICKA.
Thank you. Of Tamara de LEMPICKA. Of Tamara de LEMPICKA. There's no N.
You got this.
Guys, this could possibly be the first. Let's do this as the first bit before me trying to say LEMPICKA.
LEMPICKA, right?
LEMPICKA. Like peekaboo. LEMPICKA.
LEMPICKA. Okay. This gorgeous human and I have shared certain bookmarks in our lives. Born and raised in Southern California, both found and started developing our early performance careers at Disneyland and Universal Studios. Both of us members of the Young Americans, a little performing troupe for those aged, I think, 16 to 21. Both of us, in quotes, golden era Elphabas in Wicked. Our paths would cross in those early days at Disneyland, and I can remember vividly recognizing back then how truly special she was. She was vibrant and ridiculously talented. She had an ease about herself, and her laugh would shake people into a state of joy. She was always fashion and beauty forward. She would set local trends, and we all would try to follow, but none of us could pull it off, only Eden. Eden has been, again in quotes, one to watch every stage of her life, or maybe I should say every stage of my life. From her Broadway debut as Elphie to her star turn in Brooklyn, the musical, Maureen and Rent, and the list of memorable performances go on and on and on, including beloved Trina in the first national of Falsettos. She's currently one of the stars in Michael John LaCousa's The Gardens of ANUNCIA at Lincoln Center, and will embody the titular character of Tamara de LEMPICKA in the upcoming highly anticipated production of LEMPICKA at the Longacre Theater. She has penned and recorded 2 spectacular albums, Look Around and Revelation, the first album being one of Vivi's favorites, like child, chill-out dance party music from the time she was like 2 to 5, and it's still beloved to me. She is a voice for social, racial, and cultural justice. She is a dear friend and a gorgeous, shimmering light. Stages Podcast, please welcome Ms. Eden Erica Espinosa. Eden Espinosa, to stage, please. Eden, can we have you to stage?
Oh, we got all 3 E's in there.
Yes! When you've got 3 E's, that alliteration must be said, lady.
E to the third.
Yes.
Good morning.
Welcome. Thank you for coming to hang out with us. I know you're super busy.
It is my pleasure.
I want to jump in right away because we all have stories and a great shared love and admiration for Graciela Danielle.
Oh my
Everybody,
gosh.
Clutch the pearls, take a deep breath in.
Icon.
Yes.
And so did Michael John LaCousa, did he approach Graciela and say, this is what I'd like to do? Or had she already written journal entries or something that was the source material, or both?
But wait, just so our listeners know, we're talking about the Gardens of ANUNCIA right now. That's at Lincoln Center. We didn't.
Yes.
We just jumped.
We did,
right.
but I mentioned it in the bio. And listeners, if you couldn't connect those dots, I'm worried about you, listener. We said it not 15 seconds ago.
Yes. Well, because Grazie and Michael John have such a long history of working together. Like, this is their 7th show together.
Wow.
And I think over the years, he had just collected the little stories that she told about growing up in Argentina, about the early stages of her career, opportunities that came to her. And he approached her about writing a musical about her life. And she kept saying no. And then she finally was like, he kept asking her, and she finally said, okay, but I want it to be about the women who made me who I am today, which is her grandmother, her mother, and her aunt, who all raised her in Argentina. It's a fictional story about, it is based on her life, and the character of Anuncia is Grazi. She will say it's not, but it is. All the stories are based on stories from her upbringing, and it is just the biggest gift to be able to work with her and be directed by her and co-choreographed by her and have this be her, what she says is her retirement show, that she's retiring after this. And it's just,
what age is she now?
she's 84.
Yeah, I was going to say she has to be in her 80s.
But still, she shows up in the room and the floor shakes. Like,
That's right.
she's there. What a powerful, but loving presence.
Yes.
Yeah, you work really hard to please her when you're in the room. You want to please her. You just want
That's right.
You just want one little nod from her to say, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this really is a love letter to those women, and it's about legacy and family, and when you lose people, that you never really lose them and you take them with you everywhere. And it's a beautiful time right now. I love the cast so much, and it's extraordinary to be around strong, powerful women of several generations. It's beautiful. I've never had that before. So we have like Grazi and Priscilla Lopez and Mary Testa, Andrea Burns, myself, and Kaylin West, who's plays younger Anuncia, our two strapping men, Enrique Acevedo and Tally Sessions. But yeah, it's a beautiful time to be telling this story.
Were you all together in La Jolla as well, or did the cast shift?
Old Globe.
Old Globe.
We were
forgive
yes,
me.
we were no, we were at the Old Globe 2 years ago. It was the first show out of the pandemic.
Oh, out of COVID.
And all of the cast was the same except for older Anuncia. She was played by a beautiful actress, Carmen Roman, and they always knew that if it was going to move forward, that they wanted to have a woman of the dancer world, and who is actually older than Carmen was. It is just a masterclass to see Priscilla. She carries the entire show and narrates the whole thing, and she's just so graceful and present, and it's a masterclass to watch her take big swings and make mistakes and be like, well, that happened. I forgot where I was. And just to see her work is just, I'm learning so much.
And Lincoln Center feels like such a, I don't know, almost like a church, almost like a cathedral for actors. It is, if you are working at Lincoln Center, your shoulders go back and you're like, I am a New York artist, right?
Yes.
That institution is so revered.
Yes.
And backstage,
all those posters of, all the previous shows, but also just going to work and like I'm going to there. I'm going to work there. It's like,
Right.
It's crazy. Yeah. So it is a very classy place.
very classy. Oh, the toilet seats are heated. That's how classy
yes.
it is.
Yes. They have the fancy Japanese toilets with the heated and the bidet and the dryer and the fragrance.
You know you've made it. home,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
Placido Domingo cannot go out and sing unless his buns are toasty warm.
Drea says, it feels like a hug on your buns. Which it does.
You just mentioned your glorious cast. That cast list and then the cast of falsettos. And do you feel it's like a massive blessing to look at this group of people? And some of these casts are like 7 performers, and the intimacy of those circles of actors. I know that we found an indelible bond with our cast of falsettos. I know you feel the same way with your tight-knit family. Can you speak a little bit about that falsettos family for you?
Ugh, falsettos was the biggest gift I didn't know I needed. They asked to see me 3 times, and I didn't go in because I didn't see myself in the role. And this is a lesson to not box yourself in. But they asked me again, and then I finally was just like, Eden, Bill Finn and James Lapine are asking to see you for the 3rd time. Get your butt in the room. Just go and see what happens. And, I just come off getting divorced. My divorce was like final through that tour, made final while I was on that tour. And just playing a mother and playing a wife and just some of my closest souls will always be in that time. Yeah, it was very, very healing for me. And the thing about that, the small cast, the minimal set, the same thing with Gardens, you can't hide. And it really, like, it paralleled a lot of things in my life of just like crutches that I might have had, or, you depend on a big like set change or a huge like costume reveal or something, and you just are a human relating to other humans. And it really forces you to, well, it can do one of two things, make you run and hide in a little shell, or just practice acceptance and surrender and just like, here I am, and let's play, and I trust you and I am safe with you. And so it really makes you create that safety net for each other, which is beautiful.
Do you find that in other parts of your life you didn't see yourself as you were? Or does it just happen when you were thinking about characters? I mean, I often wish that I could step outside myself and see myself. Just who am I? What do I look like when I'm lost in something? I always wonder that about myself and wonder what I'm missing. And I wonder, do you have that in other parts of your life, or did that experience help you kind of meld the little parts of yourself that you maybe didn't know about?
I think it's funny that you asked that, because as I was listening to Stephanie say those beautiful things about me in the intro, I was just like, I got a little bit like emotional, because it's, you get to a certain age and it's like, there is a process of stepping into your worth and a knowing of really all that you are and all that you bring. And I think I'm like tiptoeing around that a little bit right now, and just going like, wow, is that me? Like, wow, that is, oh my God. So I think that, I'm stepping into that chapter of the knowing, and not, I don't mean that in like a conceited way, but I think there's a beautiful, I don't know what the word I'm looking for. There's just something at a certain point in your life is like, am I ever going to fully embrace everything that I'm supposed to be and that I am, or not?
But I think it's always shifting. I mean, I know who I am now in my 50s. I feel like I've stepped into a place that I didn't know existed. I think it's always shifting. We find those parts, and even the parts of ourselves that we don't want to know about, or we don't want to confront and face. And I think that starts to happen.
Can I pose this to you? Because you said, I want to know what I look like walking down the street. I want to know what I'm going to bring God into the conversation. God made us so that we could only see others. We can't see ourselves in that way. We were designed to put our visual outward. We can feel, we can know. And there are times, y'all, this may sound so trite, but I walk out the door and I'm like, I couldn't feel better. I'm holding my husband's hand. I'm wearing this dress that feels so great on my body. People are smiling, hugging me, telling me, you look lovely. How are you? The night couldn't go better. Then the next day I pop online to see images of what we looked like in that moment. I see those photos and go, oh no, that's not what I felt. That's not what I thought I looked like. This is not what the evening was. And all of a sudden, the whole event, the whole evening now is shadowed.
Shifted.
Yes. But I wasn't meant to see what that was. I was meant to feel what that was and carry that with me. And I think sometimes we do ourselves a massive disservice with us going back and dissecting and wanting to look at the documentation of the night or the experience. That's not the experience.
Right.
And I'm still having trouble parsing that away. But I do believe there's a reason why we see each other, or why I described Eden the way I did, because to me, that is Eden. That's the way I've always seen her since I was 22 years old. And I've only seen her grow and blossom and feel like she was at ease with herself. Now, that may be my truth of her, and your truth of yourself may be completely different and far more important because it is your opinion. But I think we pollute our opinion with these outside understandings or criticisms or comparisons. It's not the truth of the matter. It's not.
Right.
It's interesting because it's not so much to see what I look like in those situations. It's to experience who I am in those situations. Like, am I too much when I'm in a room telling my ridiculous stories? Am I too loud? Am I, that's what I want to see, like those parts of myself that I wonder how people take in. But the other thing that occurred to me when you said that, what you said, which I think is gorgeous, is that we aren't meant to see each other, but maybe it's because we're meant to see ourselves and everybody around us.
Right.
Yes.
Because when you go back, Steph, and look at the documentation, you're looking at it with with critical glasses on, or whatever lens. The experience is what other people saw. What you see in yourself is always like, oh, that's what I looked like. I thought I felt, but the feeling is what it was. You're absolutely right. But it's also like, why are we the hardest on ourselves?
Catherine Zeta-Jones feeling, girl. I was giving you a Sandra Bullock on her best day feeling. And then I look and I go, nope, still Stephanie J. Block. Still
No.
Yes. Yes. You use two words, and I want to hear your definition of them. You use the word acceptance and surrender, and the second is very difficult for me. Acceptance is one I'm getting a handle on in my age. Surrendering is still very difficult. How do you define those two words?
Oh, I think for me, it has so much to do with the comparison thing. I really learned the lesson at the beginning of the pandemic. I've always done this. They're doing this. Maybe I should do that. Oh, they have this person repping them. Maybe I should find something like that. Or why don't I have that? And during the pandemic, when we were doing nothing and everyone started doing all the things, I was like, oh God, I need to write a book, or I should be practicing my guitar, or I should be all these things. And I was just like, I couldn't have heard it louder. You just need to do what you want to do. There is no agenda. There is no timeline. The world, and your industry in particular, is shut down. Let's just start over. So acceptance, I've had to really learn to not compare myself to other people and accept myself. I'm not 100% there. But the surrender is literally just knowing that it's my faith, and also just knowing that what is meant for me will be mine in the timing that is supposed to happen. And there are things that I think we all have, I know that this is supposed to be for me. I feel it. I felt it since I was a child. But when that's going to happen, when it doesn't happen, it's oh, I'm behind everybody else. Or, so for me, the surrender is just knowing that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be at every moment of the day, of the week, of the year, of my life.
Comparison's just the creator of misery.
Yes.
Yeah, compare equals despair. That's the saying. Yeah. Compare equals despair, for sure.
Yeah, and knowing that the lessons that I'm supposed to learn in order to up level, in order to move to the next phase, stage, whatever, constantly uncovering and peeling back the layers. So it's just yes, I was supposed to go through that in order to exist as I am today.
What I love about you is that you say surrender, and you say these things are meant to be mine, and you say this is my calling, but you're not passive. You still do the work, and you do it truthfully. I can remember how inspired I was. I don't know how many years ago this was, but you had multiple Broadway credits. You were known as Eden Espinosa, and you're like, I'm going to go back to an acting program, a really intensive acting program, and shake it up a little bit. And I was like, well, that's amazing. Everything inside of me went, I dig this woman because her growth is going to continue no matter how she's been accredited or acclaimed. And the truth of that was so inspiring to me. Can you tell me what those 2 years were like for you?
I'd been fortunate in the early parts of my career. I was working pretty steadily.
Nonstop.
and the jobs would just come, or the auditions would pan out, and it was just I naively thought okay, this is what it's going to be. And I mean, a lot of that was wicked. I did a contract every year for 7 years, and then it got to a point where I didn't want to play Elphaba anymore. I felt like I had learned all that I needed to learn from that, and I was doing very, very poorly in the audition room. I was not doing well. I also was in a marriage that had a lot of emotional and verbal abuse disguised as constructive criticism. So I was very aware and I wasn't doing well. And I just was like, I need a skill set. I need to like start over. And I had happened to start teaching at NYU at the same time. And a friend of mine, Jonathan Ritter, who was in Wicked, he had taken the summer intensive at the William Esper studio. And he told me, I remember in passing one day, he told me, I think that you would like really dig this class that I'm taking. And it's a Meisner class. And, you know, and he's like, the way that you work on stage, I just think that it would really resonate with you. And so I called him. I was like, remember that class you told me about? Like, you know, what is it? And I want to check it out. And so I went and I had the interview for the summer program and I cried all the way to the subway because I was terrified for fear. I was just so scared of this step. And that's how I also knew, like, I could hear like God, like saying like, you're scared because this is where you're supposed to be.
And it's going to change a lot of things for you, which is scary.
Yeah. So I took the summer program and then I took the 2-year program and it changed my life. It really changed my life in so many ways. And even as a human, like it changed the way that I listen to people. It changed the way that I show up. And it changed a lot of things for me just as an artist and as an actor. And I miss it. I miss class. And it was just a beautiful parallel because there were moments in class, because I had had the experience that I had to be called out a few times where Bill, I was fortunate to be one of his last groups of students before he passed, but he would tell me like, stop acting, because I was like, I wanted the gold star, right? I wanted him to tell me I was good. And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, stop acting. And I was afraid of taking those risks in class, the same thing I would ask of my students. And I had this huge realization of, Eden, you can't ask these young hearts to try scary things if you're not willing to do it as well. So that was a shift for me in that class as well, because I just was like, oh, I have to really try and not be slick. I need to fail and mess up and really dig in here. And I did, and it is still paying off to this day.
The words being slick resonate with me because that idea of perfectionism, look, there's no blame, but my mom wanted that from us for sure. Perfectionism in beauty, the way we're perceived. She would have us do 10 times perfect, whatever that was, a baton routine or my talent show. I was really young and I could remember if you didn't do it 10 times perfect, you couldn't go to bed. So you do it 7 times perfect, you mess up, we start back at 1 and you'd have to go to 10. Right. In succession, you'd have to do 10 times perfect.
Wow.
And that was a key for me too, Eden, of unlocking really, really affecting people and myself, really feeling gratified in the moment of performing. And was when I got messy, when I went, fuck it.
Yeah.
I can't float above myself anymore, editing, saying, what do you look like? What is your posture? Why was that note like that? Why? And once the humanity of, I know this word is so overused, but the messiness of humanity, that's when people in the audience were like, that was the best performance. That's when I was touched. That was, because then they can recognize, then you are a mirror for people to see themselves in the world, because perfectionism just, it is a disservice to everyone.
Yes.
Whether you are a student in school or you're, taking acting class or whatever. If you're a mom, it is working against you. Once you accept and embrace that it's going to look messy, it ain't going to be the way you planned first thing in the morning, and you just go with it while still being in your body and your person, you've won the day, or you've won the show, or you've won the scene, whatever it looks like.
Yeah.
Because that was your truest sense. Your truest sense. Yeah.
Plus, there is no perfection.
It doesn't exist.
No, it doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
So you're not actually in the moment or in your spirit or in your body or in your head being judgy of yourself and expecting something that's totally impossible. And it just removes all the joy. I'm really surprised that you continued on as a performer if your mom did that to you at such a young age, that you still found joy in the performance.
Well, that's different. I don't know if I found joy throughout the last 40 years of performing, but I was being seen. And even if it was in a negative light, or even if that attention was to bat me down until I was quote unquote successful or won the first prize trophy or whatever that looked like. But at least that little girl was being seen.
Recognized.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I know. Now I find joy in it because it truly is about surrendering to the storytelling. It's not about me. It's about giving it away.
Yeah.
It's about giving away the story and hopefully it resonating, whether that's to the ethers or to those beautiful people out in the audience. And then once that happens, then you go, oh, that felt different. Or, oh, that line never popped up the way it did tonight. And then it bleeds into your real day. The next day you go, oh, you know what? There it is. Sondheim, look what you did. It's happening right now in my kitchen, or in this discussion with my husband or however, fill in the blanks.
I remember Danny Burstein saying that to us.
Give it away.
Give it away. Just give it away. Just go out there and give it away, whatever it is. And I loved that.
Yeah. I say to students of mine that this is the service industry. We're in the service industry. It's an act of service. Even your audition is an act of service. I'm here to show you who I am and possibly change the frequency in the room. And then thank you. Which is hard. That's a practice for sure.
It is.
A daily practice.
But it's the giveaway.
But it is.
I gave it away and now I'm walking away. Yeah. Let's go right to LEMPICKA. Tell us about this true artist, who she is. I read a little bit about her and she's quite fascinating. And then how long you've been with the project and just a little bit about your passion for her.
Yeah, Tamara de LEMPICKA was a force, a person who really had their finger on the pulse before it was pulsing. Her branding, her style, the way that she photographed herself, she just knew how to do all the things before they were things. So it's like her touch on style and fashion, and people have been influenced by her by not even knowing that they were influenced by her. But she went through a lot in her life, and she was the most sought after portrait painter of her time, was notoriously, at all the parties, at all the things, queer before queer was, she equally slept with men and women. Yeah, but she never, in her eyes, never popped that ceiling. So it's an interesting story. And this musical came across my heart a long, long time ago. I had seen Matt Gould and Griffin Matthews do a presentation of their musical Witness Uganda at Second Stage. This was years ago. And I sat in that theater for 20 minutes after everyone, because I was just broken open in a way that my heart was just open and I was just sobbing. And I sent them a Facebook message saying, if you ever, I want to know more about other things that you've done. And this was an embarrassing moment that there was a message from Matt Gould, Facebook message from years prior that I had never answered, saying, I'm an up-and-coming composer and I would love to collaborate with you. And I was like, oh my God, just mortified. Anyway, he sent me LEMPICKA. He's like, this is something I've been working on as well. And I didn't get involved with it for some time. I did a reading at Yale where I played a different role. And then, it just wasn't mine at the time. And then somebody else was doing it at NAMPT and they got sick. And with 3 days notice, Matt called me and was like, will you come? And because I had been familiar with the piece and the music, will you come and do this presentation? And I mentioned earlier about the knowing, there was just something about this role that I knew. I didn't know it was gonna be mine, but I knew that nobody would play it like me. Mm-hmm. I knew that I saw, and I'd seen several readings, I'd seen presentations, and I was just not judging at all, but just going, there's something deep, there's more there. Yeah, I did this NAMPT presentation and they got commercial producers and they wanted a bigger name. So they didn't use me and they got bigger names. And then those bigger names went on to do bigger things. And then I had to re-audition 3 times.
Wow.
And I was like, I want my hat in the ring. I want my shot. So I'll go to the fine. So I auditioned 3 times and that was for Williamstown. And then after Williamstown, of course, I got in my contract, just
No
in
more.
case you want
First
a
right
bigger
of
name
refusal.
again, you're going to pay me. So, so yeah, I've been steady with it since 2017.
Wow.
Which, yeah, and we were supposed to go to La Jolla right when the pandemic happened. And then, we weren't sure what was going to happen. And it's just, I am beyond happy. All I ever wanted was for this show to have a moment in New York. And because we don't get musicals like this anymore. It is an epic, sweeping, it's like reminiscent of those old musicals that we all like fell in love with, when we were coming up. And it's just, there are so many parallels with what's going on in the world today, what's going on for women today, what's going on for queer people today. And it's, I think it's the perfect time. I think people are hungry for newness, and I don't know what the fate of the show will be, but I know that it's the right time, and I think people are going to be receptive to something new.
It opens in March. In March, right?
Yes, previews start in March.
At the Longacre, I think.
At the Longacre, yes.
I also feel, and you can't say this, but I think it's your time, Lady Mama. You have been such a constant in the Broadway quilt. Your talent has been revered. You're well known. You're there, always percolating, and everybody goes, oh, she's amazing. Oh, that voice. And perhaps this is the vehicle we never want to expect ever. Mm-hmm. But I can feel the community doing this, percolating for you now, going, talk about timing. This is your time. Much like her going, when is the time? Do you feel similarly?
Yeah, I do. I do feel that. And, no results attached. You know what I'm saying? It's like we can so easily get attached to what people are saying. And I'll be honest in saying, when I originated Brooklyn in 2004, people were saying, you're going to be nominated for a Tony, you're going to win a Tony. And none of that happened. And so I learned early on in my career that like, you can't get attached to things like that. But also it's like, part of the reason why I wasn't, when talking back about the acting class, is like, there aren't roles for a very specific age for women. I feel like 30s is it's hard in there because you're not quite the young ingenue anymore, and you're not quite into the next chapter of things, and they don't come along very often. And so putting the work in with every iteration of this, every presentation, every out of town, all these things, it's a strange thing because people are like, yeah, you work all the time, but you're always so busy. But I haven't been on Broadway since 2008 when Rent closed. So I could fall out of this chair. Yeah, I haven't. It's true. But I haven't worked in New York, period, since then. And the Lincoln Center is ANUNCIA is the first time since 2008 that I've worked in New York, besides readings and, besides like readings. That is not
the perception.
I like to say that to people so that they know there's more. You can have a full, beautiful career. And I've been a part of like wonderful world premieres of musicals that are now coming, or maybe they never will. The Merrily That's Here, I did the production of it at the Huntington with Maria and the two men from the UK. Like, I have done some beautiful things that New York has never gotten to see. So it does feel, I am humbled and proud to finally be bringing this story for the entire creative team, for Matt and Carson, as long as they have been working on this show. I'm just so happy. And it's just aligning in just the most beautiful way. With some creatives had other projects that they couldn't do this iteration, and we have new costumes and a new set. And like, it's just like, oh, I think everyone's like, wow, it's aligning in a beautiful way. And it does feel beautiful to have the community happy and supportive and excited. And I'm equally as excited. So
can we talk a little about the music you write and
Sure.
what that process is for you? Is that a scary process?
Yeah, I don't like it at all. And I haven't done it since then.
Terrifying. Oh, well, that explains why. It feels like a terrifying process to write music.
Yeah. It is I mean, my first album was, modern Broadway songs taken out of context, and I was gonna do the second one the same way. And so I approached a producer who's not from theater, doesn't know theater at all, but I had heard an album that he produced, and I was like, oh, I like this production. I want to work with this person. So I reached out to him, and he was like, so do you want to do the same thing for the second album? And I was like, yeah, I think so. Like, that's my fan base. That's what and we talked for, about an hour, maybe 45 minutes. And he goes, do you write? And I said, I have a lot written down, but I don't write songs. I used to when I was younger. And it's just like, I have a lot of fear around it. And I judge myself before I even start. And he's like, Eden, I've only been talking to you for, 40 minutes, but I think you have something to say. And I think you should try it. Like, why don't you? So I started reaching out to friends of mine who I admire and respect as songwriters who've been doing it for so long. And they were all my co-writers. I literally brought my journals, Camila Marshall, Teron Brooks, Ben Karen, Celise Henderson.
Oh,
I
Celise.
literally brought all my journals going, here's things that I've written. And we combed through them all and made Sylvia McCullough. There's just so many, Izzy Ray, there's just so many that helped shepherd me through this process and made me feel safe. And
Wow.
yeah, so all the lyrics were from my journals.
I mean, that alone is gutsy. I would never show my journals to anyone.
Yeah, it was towards the end of my marriage and into the beginnings of me being single again. So it was a very interesting time of just like getting my power back and looking at myself going, what happened? Where did you go? And so that album in particular is just a very specific time capsule. And I haven't revisited it because it was such a painful time as well that it was so cathartic. Even singing those songs today is difficult for me because I'm like, I don't resonate there anymore.
Yeah, you're not that person
Yeah,
anymore.
so it is a little like,
You're not that girl.
I'm not that good.
Sorry.
You did it. So yeah, I do want to write again about this stage in my life. I've thought about having like a sequel album to like, okay, now we're completely out of that moment and what is this moment? But so I think it will come, but it doesn't come easy to me. I have to like sit down and it's not like, songs pour out of people. They're like, I wrote this song in 10 minutes. I'm like, no.
So for you, it's lyrics first and then the music comes after.
Yeah.
Doing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's been my experience. Yeah.
And now that you're wildly in love, would those songs reflect that?
I think so.
That joy, that passion?
Wait, I want to hear about the wildly in love. I didn't know about this part.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to talk about wildly in love?
Sure. Yes, we are. Yeah. I came across this beautiful soul in the pandemic, and I found love in the pandy. Yeah, this beautiful man came into my life, and I did everything I possibly could to run from him and push him away. The beautiful part about that was I was aware of it and would say it in real time. And this is the first indication that I was like, oh, this person is special, that I was like, so I'm feeling the impulse to push you away and to run from this. And he was like, I know. And he's like, what do you need? Do you want to take a break? Do you want to slow things down? And this was like maybe a month or two into our relationship. And I said, no, I don't. That's why I feel the need to tell you. I don't want to do that in my heart, but I feel that this is a pattern of me going like, whether I felt I didn't deserve it or I didn't know what to do with that availability or wasn't ready to receive it. I don't know at the time, but this man just keeps showing up with patience and grace. And I have never had a partner like this before. And I think, it was at a time I was ready to receive it and give it back. I have still so much to undo, but he is just the most available and supportive and willing to do the work alongside and for each other. And I live with him now and his 3 beautiful kids. He's a single dad of three who are 16, 15, and 12. And that in itself is another layer that is just such a gift because I always wanted to be a mom, but then like with my ex, I knew maybe not, maybe not. And then it was like I was older and so it is every day is a new lesson to learn because it's also like, wow, having to be a parent to and show up for kids who aren't mine by blood, but like to at 40, almost 6 years old to, okay, I don't have any privacy anymore. And, there's no more alone time. But the more I lean into it, the more it gives back to me. And the more I'm able to open myself up and give them what they need and them to give me what I need, especially in this time and my career is so busy, it really puts things in perspective in such a beautiful way of what's important and what matters. And it's second to this. It's overwhelming and beautiful in all the ways. And yeah.
Teenagers really hold a mirror up. I mean, kids in general just hold a mirror up, but teenagers do it in a very articulate way. Like when they're younger, they'll hold the mirror up through their behavior, but teenagers will just tell you, hey, here's what you're doing. And here's why it doesn't work. And it's pretty incredible. I have a 18-year-old. I kind of volunteered him for something, like to help my mom with something. And then he said, well, you can, but don't just go inviting me, like wait till the opportunity arises. But of course I didn't. He was like, Mom, you're diving in, fixing a problem that isn't yours, that nobody's asking you to fix. And you're asking me to now dive in with you. And I was like, you are so smart. You're so intelligent. You're so observant. And he didn't get mad. He just like told me like it was. And I learned so much about myself in that moment, just from the way he reflected back to me how my behavior was now affecting him.
Yeah.
He's like, please work on that because now it's my problem. And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
But I think teenagers are incredible.
Yeah.
They really will just vocalize it to you. Real.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm ready for that, yo. I don't know if I'm ready for that. Because she will, she does the 8-year-old behavior of, well, you didn't do it. And, it's kind of a knee-jerk reaction where it's coming at a bit of a snip, and I will then deflect and correct her on her tone that she's using with her mom, as opposed to really go, well, I guess she's right. I didn't make my bed. So I'm upset that she didn't make her bed.
Go to your room.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I had the youngest who just turned 12 recently. Like this was when we first all joined forces. And I was like just irritable and I'd been grocery shopping and the day was just like kind of day. And I came home and this beautiful soul, she just always wants to help. She's like, can I help? And, I was putting away the groceries and I was kind of doing it in like a very aggressive way because I was irritated. And she's like, can I help? And I was like, oh, I'm okay right now, Lorelai. I'm going to finish. I'm almost done. And she's like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm okay. Why? And she's like, you just seem rushy. And I was like, it was the first moment of how my energy affects people and and I was like, I literally stopped and I took a breath and I was like, you're right. I do seem rushy and I don't need to be. You want to help me put away the groceries? Let's do it together. Because I was like, it was just like, whoa.
And you could have totally missed a beautiful moment. But I think that's what I mean when I say I want to go back and observe, like, who am I in those moments? Like, I want to see my habits. Like, what do I turn into when something else is on my mind? How do I approach a room when I'm feeling insecure? That's what I mean when I say I wish I could observe myself sometimes.
I'm looking up someone right now. I think her name is Tabitha Brown. Do you know this influencer? I love her so much. It's I am Tabitha Brown. I'm going to paraphrase here, but she's like, okay, you all go out and have a really great day. And if you don't have a great day, make sure you don't ruin somebody else's.
Yes. Yes.
Exactly.
And that's right. I mean, you can be rushy, but then you have to look around and be like, oh, yeah, I'm ruining your day. I'm making you uptight. That's right.
Can I ask you about your tattoos? I see tattoos on your hands. Are those real?
No, these are real. I have to cover them up for my show. For the 1940s in Argentina. Yeah, I have several little tinies.
Do they all mean something special for you?
Yes. I am a Harry Potter fan, so and of the books in particular. So these are the
Oh.
little stars that are on the corners of the books that I put
Okay.
on the inside of my
Ah.
wrist because I like that's how they look when I hold the book. I also have
Yep.
Lumos Maxima, which is like one of the spells, but it's like maximum light, which I want to carry with me and be at times. This is an apple with the state of California on the inside.
Oh,
This is a
cute.
phrase from Tangled, the series that I was a voice for, a plus en vous, which means there is more in
Ah.
you.
We didn't even touch upon, she's an Emmy-nominated voice actor.
So crazy.
Yes, she is, for being the Queen of
Yes.
Hearts. What's the name of that show?
Alice's Wonderland Bakery. Yes, it's a little baby's show, but it's so fun. This is a queen. This was after my divorce, just saying like people are gonna know that I'm a queen.
You're
Yes.
royalty, girl.
Yeah, well, yes,
Yep.
that happened
Yep.
after, but yes. It's addicting, I will say.
No, I know. I got my first one last year and I'm already obsessed about getting more.
Yeah, this is Camila and I both got these matching boom. It just says boom because we would say it all the time, and we were like, should we get boom? Yeah, why not? It's forever, but why not?
Being a Harry Potter fan, have you ever listened to The Witch Trials of J.K. Rowling?
No.
Oh, I think you would really, really enjoy it. It's a podcast, and they interview her about. I mean, you know, she made some statements that were
Yes.
taken very, very.
Oh, she's very controversial.
Yes.
She's very
Well,
controversial.
This podcast,
Yes.
they really go in deep and talk to her and clarify and get her side of things and have a very frank discussion, and it's really good.
Oh,
Really, really good.
I need to definitely because I have. Yeah, I read an article where she talked about why she said the things she did, which gave me a little bit more insight.
No, this really, it gives a lot of insight, but doesn't let her off the hook, you know, but it's very
Great.
clear what she was
Yeah.
trying to say. It's really interesting.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, we've arrived at the 5 questions. But just before, a word from our sponsors. What is your perfect sandwich?
It's a bodega sandwich from here and I love it because it's pretty consistent no matter what bodega you go to. So I get turkey with cheddar cheese, mayo, mustard, oil and vinegar with banana peppers on it.
Oh,
And that
What kind of
shredded
bread?
lettuce, the roll,
The roll,
the roll.
okay.
Not the hoagie, but like
No, like
yeah.
the hamburger, the brioche bun type
That's right.
roll. That's right.
yeah.
Oh, oil and vinegar
And then I
sound real
put
good right now,
chips
y'all.
inside of it
oh God. Yeah.
Yes, you do.
because I love the crunch.
A crinkle or just a straight smooth lay?
It's
Like
a
what's-
Dorito. It's a
Oh,
Dorito.
it's a Dorito.
It's a Dorito.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to name this sandwich after you, bro.
Please.
Yes. LEMPICKA. For cubism. All those little triangles
yes.
and different shapes. Yes.
Oh my God.
Let's make this happen. Let's make
Okay,
this happen.
what if you could go back? What would you tell your teenage self?
Oh my God. So many things. And the healing I've done on my inner child and continue to do. You are everything. You are made of stardust and you are everything that you're supposed to be, and don't ever diminish your light for anybody. That's what I would say.
Are you a desert, mountain, or beach person?
I'd say ultimately I love all three, but when it really comes down to it, mountain. But I love the beach and I love the desert. They each have their beauty, but the mountain air and the forest and hiking up in the mountains makes me so happy.
Okay, you wake up tomorrow morning with a superpower. What is it?
I want to fly.
We get a lot of flyers.
I want to
know.
fly. Yeah.
That's a powerful one.
Yeah.
All right. If you're a nail polish color, what's the color and what's the cheeky little name of the nail polish?
Oh gosh, this is hard. I love a deep, like those deep like burgundies. But if it could be not necessarily the one that all Lincoln Park After Dark, but if it could have a little shimmer in it, And then I could have like, a deep purple with a shimmer. Oh, the cheeky name. Geez, this is hard. Midnight Special? I don't know.
Oh,
I
the
like that
Midnight
one.
Special. What about to Peekaboo?
I love that now we have a
Yeah, this is now how I can pronounce it, how I can remember.
LEMPICKA.
That's right, girl. Oh my gosh, I'm excited for you. I'm excited for your life, for your love, for all of it, E. You are
Thank
a
you.
true blue, and we don't see each other as often as I'd like, but you have to know you are always like in my core, in my prayers. I just love you a ton.
Thank you. And I feel the same.
It was great to meet you.
Thank you.
Likewise. Thank you for having me.
You are enough. You are made of stardust. Made of stardust,
She
girl.
is made of stardust. That's pretty clear. I wanted to ask her, though, because I heard her talk about this on another podcast, that when you stepped away from Wicked, you called her before anybody knew, and you said to her, go call your agent because I'm leaving and you're perfect. And you coached her through her audition. And you're made of stardust, Stephanie J. Block.
I don't know about that. Yeah, there were two. Shoshana Bean had called me as well, and it was really in the early stages. Like, sheet music hadn't been out. Nobody had really heard Defying Gravity, and they were looking for, I think, a standby maybe at that time. I can remember standing by 72nd Street, and I'm on my little, not even a BlackBerry. I had like one of those little flippity phones, and I'm singing Defying Gravity to her. And then, Eden was made for it. I mean, going back to those Disneyland days, I can hear voices in my head even today and go, oh, she's made for more. She really is made for more. I feel so blessed that we're both on the Disneyland main stage together in man amazement or whatever it's called. But you can hear these certain talents where you're like, oh, yeah, that's beyond special and needs to be heard by, the world. And she's done that for herself. I really meant it when I said that for someone to kind of take stock in who they are after quite a bit of success and longevity in the industry, and to go, I'm going to continue to learn and be really open about it. That takes a lot of humility. I know it seems like it wouldn't be that big, but I can even speak to my sort of own ego and fear. Like when Anything Goes popped up, I wanted to immediately, I'd gotten the part, but I wanted to go take tap classes just to kind of get everything going again. And I thought, well, I can't go to steps. I can't go to Broadway dance because there will be students around and they'll be looking at me like, how good is she? And how did she get there? And there'll be judgment and too much voyeurism for me to feel comfortable. And so my ego kept me away from that. And I was watching videos and like staying at home and trying to teach myself. And I know my growth could have been far more if I just allowed myself to walk into a space where, you may be judged. Yeah, people may whisper in corners about.
But who cares?
But
who cares what they say?
The who cares part.
I think there are two different types of people. There are people who continually try to learn despite the fear. And then there are people who get complacent in their life. And I think learners are just lifelong learning is healthier. You become physically healthier because you're learning and challenging and growing all the time in spite of the fear of what somebody else is going to say about you or the changes that may happen in your life that were unexpected because now you're different from the things that you've learned. I think most people are truly, they will stay with what they know, even if it makes them ill or unhappy or complacent, because it's easier than change, and learning creates change in your life. So I think we find reasons not to learn, whether we mask it behind, oh, I'm afraid of what someone else will think, or, oh, I'm afraid I can't do it. I'm afraid of looking foolish. Just jumping in and learning. I mean, it's the beginning of all good things. You challenge all your beliefs and assumptions when you just jump in and learn.
And I will say this in my defense, without being defensive, I am curious about so many things. But when it comes to my art form, like if I were to be really vulnerable and sit into an acting class or a vocal class with other students who perceive me to be one thing, or perhaps could be a marker for whatever success they might be striving for, or that is really humbling and would be really hard. In other aspects of my life, I enter, I think, really full throttle about learning things that I go, wow, I've just never been exposed to that. I haven't spent 40 years studying that. Give me all that you got. But there is something very vulnerable about saying, I've reached a success here.
Well, and it's interesting because I was just thinking, like, am I a learner?
Oh,
and I do think I am a learner. However, I don't ask for help.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because to me, it's not the learning that's vulnerable. It's the asking for help that's vulnerable. So I hardly ever ask people for help. I'm like, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. And that's my defense mechanism. So I'll go learn something, but you're not going to show me. I'll do it myself. Isn't that so interesting?
And in community is when you learn the most. Read a book and then discuss the book. And then if you can actually teach bits of that book to someone else, then you've really learned it. You may not have mastered it, but then you've really learned it. But that only happens with other people. You can't do it on your own all the time. Yeah.
Right. And it takes a lot of, it's constant. Going back to that perfectionism thing, life is just a constant series of these lessons. And the more aware you become about your stuff and your patterns, and you start to recognize your patterns, that's when change and growth can happen, It's when we don't ask ourselves those questions that I think you get stuck, get real stuck. But I want to shift gears for a second because the holidays are coming up. And I've been decorating. And you know what I've been listening to while I decorate?
Oh, please say what I think you're going to say, and I hope you're going to say.
Merry Christmas, darling.
Thank you, Mary Lee.
I love putting the tree up and the green and the sparkle with little stardust Stephanie J.
Oh, that's so kind. All we wanted, that's all I wanted. I wanted to be in people's homes when they're creating their own traditions or experiencing their fun moments. I wanted the music to feel like a cozy blanket or a cup of cocoa, real warm,
And who better than from you, the queen of Christmas?
I know. I really am. I've done a couple press bits and they're like, well, how much do you really love Christmas? And 5 minutes into my diatribe about the traditions, the decorations, the memories, the sense memories, they're like, oh, okay, we're sorry we ever asked this question.
We're just hoping for a yes or no. Thank you. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah. I think not that it's going to be the first of many, but the joy that I had being in the booth. It was hard to choose just 12 tracks, actually. There were so many beautiful ideas and conceptions for different songs that had to go to the wayside or put aside until the next bit. But it's very rare I say I am proud from soup to nuts. And with this one, I'm proud from track 1 to track, I don't even know, 12. So thank you for listening. Listeners, thank you. I hope that you will maybe just give it a chance. And then if you hear little tidbits, go ahead and stream it, or you can buy it on Amazon. You can buy it on my website.
There's a link on Stage's website too.
Oh,
and
thanks.
on your website.
And on Stage's website. So Merry Christmas, my darlings.
Oh, so sweet.
Thank you.
And while you're on the website, Christmas shopping.
Journal.
There's the journal, yes, but there's also Stage's swag.
We've got swag.
Get yourself some swag.
Who
for
doesn't
Christmas?
want a bucket hat in their stocking? I'm serious, guys. How many bad hair days have you had where if you just went plunk, you're fashionable, you're ahead of the curve? Because like the bucket hat, it transcends Gen X and millennials and whatever. The bucket hat is a staple for everyone. This is what I'm saying. A baseball
the bucket
tee
hat looks so stupid on me.
No, it doesn't look stupid.
I cannot pull off.
Do you
a bucket
understand
hat.
what you're doing? You are stopping people from buying the.
I do the baseball hat.
Okay.
However, I did give a bucket hat to LaChance, and she sports it like nobody's.
Nobody's. You know what? I'm thinking back now. I spent a Father's Day with you, Michael, and Sebastian. Your Sebastian, and I wore a bucket hat, and your Michael looked at me and was like, "Nope, don't wear that in this house." Nope. He's very judgy against the bucket hat. Maybe hats in general, because you have a story too where he's like, not that hat. Here's another hat. Don't you guys have a hat
He
story?
loves hats. No, this is the greatest story. It's when I first met him. We went up to Maine like for a weekend. We were just getting to know each other, and he bought us these like Greek Fisher caps.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
And,
the felted ones, dark blue
so
felted
I'm
ones. Yeah.
sporting that, Greek fisherman's cap. And I go backstage. I get back to New York. I was doing I Love You, You're Perfect. I get into my dressing room and I'm wearing my little Greek fisher cap. And Adam Hunter comes in the dressing room and he was like, honey. And he takes the hat off my head and he goes, not New York. Walks out of the room.
And I would say, where's Adam Hunter now? But he is like a world famous multi-millionaire designer.
Yeah. He's like designer guy. But it was hysterical because I never put it back on my head again. Michael's like, what the hell? And I go, I have no sense of self. Okay. You give me the hat. It looks great. I wear the hat. I wear it to New York. Adam says, don't do that. I can't do that. I don't have a sense of self. Not when it comes to hats, except for my Love Where You Are Now baseball cap. I do wear
That's right. That's right. There's lots of little tidbits you can pick up, lots of little swag, and we love for you to do that.
My journal, too.
Yes.
This will help you find a sense of self, perhaps, Mary Lee.
Mary Lee, it is beautiful with all your favorite quotes, and just the coloring is soothing. You're doing a lot of work.
I am. I'm keeping busy. I mean, the yoga stuff is stuff that I've done for years and years, and I teach yoga workshops and all of that. And this is sort of reminiscent of what I do in the yoga workshop when we're trying to get into the chakras and figure out where your imbalances are. And how to sort of get to the core of what it is that where you really want, your real desires. And this is it has 108 prompts that lead you to ask yourself some questions and go through some exercises to try to get to the core of some of the things that hold you back, some of the things that block you, and some of the things that you really desire in your life. So it's fun.
It is fun, and it's beautiful, and it is worth checking out. We very rarely promote product. So here's to the beauty, the commercialism, and the growth of you this Christmas. Girl, I miss you a lot. I'm so glad we have this podcast just so we can be together and share our being with other people and them with us. So I love you.
I love you too. Bye.
Bye.
Stages podcast is produced by Stephanie J. Block and Mary Lee Fairbanks in association with iHeartRadio. It can be heard on the iHeartRadio podcast and iHeartRadio Broadway or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Please join our cast by signing up at stagespodcast.net, listening, sharing, and leaving a 5-star review. It all makes such a difference in getting the word out. Thanks for listening, and we will see you again soon.